Good day, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Leaders Lounge. My name is Abimbola Timileyin, and here with me is
Miracle Story.
So today we'll be looking at the topic dream, direction, and discipline, which is turning vision into clarity. So, sir, I have some few questions for you on dreams, direction, discipline, and turning vision into clarity. So, how do you define the relationship between dream, discipline, and direction in achieving success?
Okay. Dreams, discipline, direction, and achieving success. I believe that there is no success without discipline. If we study people who are successful in life, we realize that there's one thing that is common to all of them, and that is discipline. And after discipline, we also have clarity of what success wants to be to them. You know, we have different definition of success. If I ask you now what you want to as a success might be different from what I want as a success. So we first need to clarify that. So after that, then we need to make sure that we discipline ourselves to achieve that particular success that we want. So it is very important that we understand that discipline is the mother of success.
So discipline is the mother of success. So number two question that I have here with me is, what is the most common mistake people make when trying to turn their dream to reality, and how can it be avoided?
Well, I think the most common problem that people make when they are trying to turn their dreams to reality is that they have the dream, and the next thing they do is now to go to sleep. When you have a dream, you don't go to sleep, you go to work.
Okay.
Most people just believe that, okay, I have this dream, then it's meant to happen the way I want it. Everybody has a dream. If you ask someone who is living under the bridge, what is your dream? They will tell you, I want to live there, I want to make money, I want to have money. But why are they there? Because it's not about the dream. It's about having a strategy, having a goal, knowing what to do to accomplish the dream. So the most important mistakes that we make is because we think that dreams can achieve itself. But no, dreams cannot. We are the one who's supposed to achieve those dreams by making sure we have a plan for them, making sure that we discipline ourselves to accomplish those goals.
Okay. So number three question is, how do you set clear, achievable goals that aligns with your dream? One. And what is the roles of vision board or planning tools?
I would like to do that question
Again.
one by one.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, exactly. So it says, how do you set clear, achievable goals that aligns with your dream?
Alright, beautiful. So if somebody wants to set a clear, a SMART goal,
Okay.
they call it SMART. So the person first needs to understand what he wants. So the person needs to ask himself, what do I want? What do I want to accomplish? So when you understand what you want to accomplish, then you will now try to break down what you want, you now put it into steps. What can I do to get what I want? For example, now if you're a business person and your goal is to make maybe 10 million naira in a month,
Okay.
you have to understand that what do you need to do? Who are you going to reach out to? What is the product that you need to sell? What service do you need to provide? For example, now if you want to provide maybe a graphic design, you want to provide graphic design, you have to understand who do you want to provide it to? How much do you want to charge graphic design? So you have to understand the things that you need to do to accomplish those goals, and that comes with understanding what you want first before you know the list of the things you need to do. So I think knowing what you want first is very important, and what you want is what will give birth to what you need to do.
Okay, so knowing what you want is very, very important and essential in human's life.
Yes.
Okay, the paper says, what is the role of vision board or planning tools?
It's very important. I was listening to a man and he said something.
Okay.
He said, God has a plan for us. God will not plan for us. I believe in God. So he's trying to let us know that God wants us to do great things in life. But we have to take the responsibility to plan to do that great things. So the role of vision board help us to know what we want. You know exactly you know exactly what you want, like I said earlier,
Yeah.
and what you want is what's going to give birth to what you need to do. I believe that setting goals, for example, Elon Musk, who built the rocket company, and someone who had MBA, I think their strategy to accomplish their goal is actually the same thing, but the intensity of what they did was what is different. So, what is the strategy? Firstly, Elon Musk knew that I wanted to build a record company, right? Somebody who had an MBA know that, okay, what I want is an MBA. So, you first of all know what you want. That is what you are supposed to put on your vision board. So now, then let's say you now have an arrow down. That arrow points to what you need to do. For Elon Musk now, people who have studied his story. So he had to learn about rocket. He has to learn about different things, rocket science, so that he can build rockets using small resources, because according to him it was so expensive that he had to school himself on how to build these things using small resources. For example, also somebody who had an MBA also needs to study to look at university that he can afford their tuition fee. So in your vision board, what you want to be will be on the top, and then there should be an arrow that points to different things that you need to do. Like, look at the school that is offering the degree you want to be. You want to get an MBA. Look at how you're going to pay your school fees. Look at how you're going to attend classes, do the assignments. Yes, those are the things that is supposed to lead to your vision board. I hope you understand.
Yes, thank you so much, sir. The next question is also in two parts, so I would like to ask the first one first, then take the second part. It says, what is the importance of daily habit in building discipline? What is the importance of daily habits in building discipline?
Daily habit is very, very important. Very, very important. For example, I was talking about somebody who is good to have an MBA. The daily habit that is very important for that kind of person is to make sure that he studies every day, so that they can have
achievements.
Yes. So whatever you want to do, there are some things that you need to do every single day. Every single day. If you're into business and your goal is to make a certain amount of money at the end of the month, you have to make sure that you reach out to customers every single day. So, when we want to accomplish our goals, it is what we do every day that matters. Somebody who wants to get an MBA now, the person reads today, and then does not even open his books till the day of examination. That does not make sense. The person likely to fail.
Some people believe that when exam is closer, that's when they'll be able to retain whatever they read, and the pressure to read will be there than reading ahead of time. That's most people's belief.
Yes, but human's brain is not like that. Human's brain love it when what you want to know, you first of all read about it, and you take some time, you do revision of what you've read, and then you do it again, and you do it again. That's how it sticks. I think a lot of people use that approach, and that is why after graduation now, if you ask them, what did you even learn when you were in school? They don't even say anything.
Exactly.
Because their purpose is to just pass the exam.
Exactly. Most students will say they love doing rapport, cram.
Yeah, and I don't think that is the purpose of education. I think the purpose of education is meant to improve us, to make us better, so that we can invent and change systems.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. The B part says, how can individual create routines that support their goals?
How can individual create routines that support their goals?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it depends on knowing what to do. It depends on knowing what to do. Because if you want to make a certain amount of money at the end of the month,
okay,
and what you are doing is you are not reaching out to customers. You're probably maybe you have a website, if you are a designer, and what you are doing every single day is just redesigning your website. You are doing that, it's not going to lead you to anywhere. So you have to know the routine that you are meant to do every day,
okay,
that contribute to that goal that you want to accomplish.
Okay.
So when you know the routine, then you have to find the discipline to do it. I know that you having a discipline to do it, because when we are talking about doing particular thing every single day is not easy. You need to have a discipline. You need to be disciplined enough to do it. And more importantly, discipline means something to motivate you. For example, now I do business, so most times, even if I don't want to work, I have to work. Why? Because I need money. So you need to be motivated. So if you have a goal, and that your goal is probably because you want to accomplish it because that's what your friend is doing.
Okay.
You might not be able to find the discipline to keep doing what you need to do every single day because you do not have this internal motivation to help you accomplish it. You are just, it's just because of peer pressure. That's why you want to do it. You might not accomplish the goal. So yeah. So if you are setting a goal, or if you have a dream, let it be something that you are internally motivated to accomplish. Yeah, something that there's no way we find the courage to do what you need to do. Yes.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question says, how do you stay focused and maintain directions when faced with obstacles or setbacks? Because mainly when people encounter setbacks, they believe that's on their path and they lose hope. It is just discipline that will make one to stagger back on their feet and able to continue. So now the question is, now how can one stay focused and maintain direction when faced with obstacles and setbacks?
Yeah. What will make someone to stay focused is your reason. Why do you want to accomplish that dream that you have?
Okay.
If you have a dream, one thing you need to ask yourself is why? Why do I have this dream? But let me tell you a personal story. When I was growing up, I wanted to become, action star. I used to watch a lot of action movies, this Chinese martial
And
arts.
it would have fit you a lot though.
So I wanted to become a martial artist, just be doing movie and beating people like Jack Chan, stuff like that. And then I realized that it was what I was exposed to. If I had worked that part, I might have quit now because I realized that there is no serious reason for me to become that particular person, to go into that profession of acting, martial artist. I don't have a serious reason for that. And when I do not have serious reason, I will not have what it takes to be disciplined to accomplish that dream of becoming a martial artist. So for us to be focused on what you want to accomplish, in this world that is full of distraction, we need a serious reason why you want to accomplish that.
Thank you so much, sir. The next question, it says, can you share an example of a successful person who embodied the balance of dream, discipline, and direction? Let's take that first before taking a deep bath.
Example of somebody who embodied
the balance of the dream, discipline, and direction.
Yeah, one person that I like to read about is Elon Musk because I'm fascinated by the way things and everything he has done. So there was a particular time, 2008, when none of his company was actually working. Tesla was at the verge of bankruptcy, and SpaceX also. So, according to what he told media, he said he was going through a serious time because he had just had a divorce also at that particular point. So, everything around him was just working against him. So, if he had quit at that particular point in his life, then I think people would say that he had a good reason to quit because you have two companies and none of them is profitable. You're also going through divorce. So I mean, he had all of everything that you might even think of. I mean, if he quit, people will be like, yeah, you've done well. Because he will be like, yeah, you make a good choice for quitting. But he did not. And that is why we have, Tesla cars, Model X, we have Cybertruck today. And that is why we also have SpaceX with, space exploration. So he's somebody that I study a lot, and I think he embodied discipline, as dreams. And what do you call it?
And direction.
And direction. He knew exactly what he wanted. Nothing. He said in one of his interview, the interviewer asked him that, what do you think I will make you to stop what you are doing? He said, if it's incapacitated, like if he cannot do anything, that is the only reason he will stop. But I think if we want to accomplish our dreams, so we need to embody that kind of mindset that nothing should stop us. Yes.
So, the B part has been partially answered in the A because it says, what can we learn from the journey?
Okay, yeah, I think what we can learn, like I said earlier, is that we need to be so disciplined, so focused, and we need to beat our check that
No matter what comes our way.
Yes, and
We
we need
stay
to get it
focused.
done. Yes, yes, very important. Because of course, I'm coming because on the journey to accomplishing our dreams, we're going to see different challenges.
Exactly.
Yeah, especially if you do business. You will see clients that do not like what you did for them. You will actually have staffs
You have time that will
complain a lot, especially if you're in the creative space. Very funny space. People who are creative to understand. So you might also have staffs that they're not really performing what they're supposed to do, they're not doing it. You have to talk. Different challenges, cash flow challenges. So I just believe that no matter what happens, we have to be so, we have to, there's this word grit, yes, we have to persevere. To persevere through the challenges that I need to accomplish this thing. I've started and I have to get to the end of it.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. So the next question says, how does one balance patience with the need for progress, especially when results are not immediate?
That is a very tough question. It's easy to say, you have to be patient, you have to be patient. But the truth is that when you're not seeing results, it's difficult to be patient.
Exactly.
Because you feel like what you're doing is not working. And you have all this pressure to stop and do something else. Maybe you are starting a business and you're making sales, but still you cannot pay your bills. You might be like, this is not working for me, let me go and get a job. So, but what I would just say is that if you're in that situation, you have to be patient because they say that Rome was not built in a day. Yeah, so you have to be patient. And the second thing I would say is that you have to check your strategy. What are you doing? Is what you are doing, is it going to give you the expected outcome? If it's not going to give you the expected outcome, you might need to change your strategy. You might need to change your plans. You are not changing the goals, but you are changing how to get to the goals. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. The next question is, what is the role of self-reflection and adaptability in maintaining direction and achieving long-term goals?
I think the role of self-reflection and adaptability is very important because, like we've been discussing, you are going to face some periods that will not be palatable to you when you are in pursuit of the dreams. And that's period. What you need to do is self-reflection. Like I said earlier, you have to reflect on what you are doing. You have to be sincere with yourself. I discovered that most time we pretend to ourselves. But let me say we just have this wish. We want to, for example now, we want to go somewhere, but we know that that place we are going, the road that we are on will not get us there. But we still hope that this road should get me there. You understand what I'm saying? So we need to be serious with ourselves. We do not need to pretend. We need to be I'm using for that word to use. We need to be sincere, in all sincerity. We need to, look at what we are doing. If I continue with what I'm doing in the next 10 years, will I get to, that goal? Will I achieve that dream? I think that is what I refer to as self-reflection. And the other part, adaptability. When you realize that the path you are on will not get you to where you want to be in the next 5 years, 10 years in your dream, then you have to change. You have to do something else. You have to, you are not changing the dream, but you are changing the path you are on. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. The next question is, how can individual identify and overcome limiting beliefs or mindset blocks that hinders their progress towards their dream?
That is a very serious question.
Shall I retake it?
No, I get it. I'm just thinking because it cuts across psychology. The belief that we have, they are product of our environment.
Exactly.
So if, and it's also a product of, let me say, mindset capacity. And it is very important that who is going to help you to change your belief is yourself. Nobody's going to. You are going to be the one to change what you believe by yourself. Limiting self-belief is kind of belief that when you have an idea, you cannot think that you cannot bring that idea to reality. Maybe because of your background or because of your education, and that is more importantly, even if you have friends that you share that idea with, and they told you that who are you, who do you think you are, what do you have? It is very serious. But I think the only way that we can, let me use the word grown out of limited belief is exposure. You have to be exposed. Because when you realize that there's somebody out there who has already done what you want to do, you have the confidence that this man has done it, I can also do it. But if you're not exposed to know that there's somebody out there who has done exactly or more than what you want to do, you might feel like it is not possible. But since you have that idea, since you have that perspective, that exposure that somebody has already done it, then you believe that you can also do it. Yes.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. You've enlightened us on that. That's very brilliant. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate. The next question is, what practical step can listeners take today to start turning their dreams into actionable goals and building the discipline needed to achieve them?
Okay, practical step that I would say that people who are listening to this podcast is that whatever you want to accomplish in life, I don't care what it is, whatever you want to accomplish, maybe you want to become a professor, a doctor, you want to build a business, you want to become the president of Nigeria, whatever you want to do, I want you to write the steps that you need to take to get there. Write the step, write it down. Maybe you need to get your bachelor's degree, master's degree, whatever you need to do, write everything down. And then I will advise you that you should take you should do the smallest thing that can take you to where you want to be. For example, if you want to become a professor, you first need to go through a bachelor's degree, master's degree. That smallest thing to you might be searching for schools, maybe online, schools that can be flexible to you, to study, or maybe looking for courses that you can do. If you want to become president of Nigeria, maybe join a political party. If you want to build businesses, maybe enroll in a course that teaches you how to run a business, or maybe look for opportunities around you. So my advice is simple: look for the smallest thing that you can do today that will take you to where you want to be the next 10 years. And that smallest thing, after you've done it today, do it tomorrow, do another thing tomorrow, and if that smallest thing is an habit, keep doing it every single day. So that is my advice.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. The last question is, how can a person who has a vision but does not have the materials that it costs to turn the vision into reality, what are the advisable steps you think they should take to achieve their visions and turn it into reality?
That's a very good question. So, most people think that the first thing that they need to build a vision from ground zero is money. But I don't believe that. I believe that the first thing you need is knowledge.
Okay.
Yeah, I like to talk about Elon Musk very, very much. Because the first thing he did, he had money though, but the first thing he did was not to invest or was not to do anything. The first thing he did was to gather knowledge, to understand how rocket science works. So I think everybody who is serious about building something from ground zero and they have nothing, I think the first thing they need to do is knowledge. Go on YouTube, search for that topic concerning what you want to do. Consume a lot, read a lot, study a lot about that thing you want to do. So when money comes, you have a lot of knowledge that will actually prevent failures in that thing you want to do. I'm not guaranteeing that because you study then you will have no failure. What I'm trying to say is that if you're supposed to have like 200 failures in what you want to do, because you've had knowledge, you might have like maybe 100. That's what I'm trying to say, right? Yeah, because that knowledge will cover some failures. Yeah, that's what I'm trying to say. So you need to learn learn more, learn a lot. Whatever information that you can get on what you want to do, who you want to become, please consume that information. That is the thing that I can say, and that will cost you less. It will not cost you more than data. Just go online. I think Alizin, there's a free website where you can study for free, alizin.com. Go there, learn about that thing you want to become. So by the time money comes, you will be more than somebody who is just starting from no knowledge, from no money there. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Sorry, the last question, final one. Sorry, right now. Okay, so I want to ask a question.
Okay.
What is your advice for somebody that has gathered knowledge and try to invest the knowledge in a particular thing and keeps on failing? And okay, after that, investing the knowledge in something, maybe the person now thinks of trying another thing and still fails. What do you think the person should do, or which step do you think the person should take?
Yeah, I think this question has a little bit of history.
Okay.
Because when people fail, the reaction that environments give them, they make them feel like they're failure. But one thing I've understood is that there's no success without failure. Check every success that we have in the universe today. Some are even as a result of failure. I heard that the Coca-Cola was as a result of failure. Yeah. So what it was trying to do, wasn't a success. So and it tasted the drink of like, this makes sense, and then it went to Coca-Cola. So most successes that we have today, they are not exception of failure. So I believe that failure is part of success. Yeah, there's this quote that a man who has never failed has never tried something new. So if you want to do something, then I think you should embrace failure. You should not run away from failure. Even though, people might not agree with me because, failure is not easy. And I remember then in secondary school, if somebody repeat a class now, I mean, we were part of people that will make it so
It's not easy to embrace failure.
Yeah, it's not easy, but I think it's the reality of life. Yeah, if we truly want to be successful, especially I'm speaking, and I do business, so I'm speaking from business perspective. You need to embrace failure. You need to embrace failure. Yeah, because you need to embrace failure. People who are doing business will understand what I'm talking about, because they actually embrace failure. No matter, if you've been in business, you realize that there are some deals that you think they're going to go through, but they did not. That's failure. There's some project that you're back home and you think, failure is not about somebody repeating the class. Failure is about your expectations, about a particular thing that you're
being able to meet it.
Yes, that is failure. So when that happens, you change the plan that, you used a plan before, and that plan is not result to what you want. So you change the plan and you do it again.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, there is a question from the audience.
Okay.
It says, what about people who have knowledge in almost everything, but are not perfect in one thing? There are some people, they would love to exploit all aspects of life, but still yet they are not perfect in one thing because they feel they are neglecting other skills and knowledge they have.
Yeah. I understand that question very well because I think I'm kind of a person like that. I have interest in so many things, and then, but to be real, I think we need to have a focus. We need to have a focus. And what we want to do in our life will actually help us to be focused. Yes. Yeah, because they say that jack of all trades, master of none. And if you want to be somebody in this world, you have to be specialized in something. People that the world respects, people that their industry pays well, they are specialized, people. When we are talking about the medical line, so they pay a doctor who is specialized in neurosurgeon. I think that's a great doctor. They pay them well, a general doctor. So we need that specialization is very important. So I think if you are someone who is interested in different things, I think you should try to understand your strength. And when you understand your strength, then you need to look at the particular area that meets your strength and specialize in that. You can see us, but make sure that
You have
you
one.
have one area of specialization. Very important.
Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you for joining us on this edition. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
So, if there is still any other question, you can kindly drop it on the comment section. It will be kindly attended to. Thank you so much for joining us. God bless you.
Yeah.